We have one perfect example in our country of what it would look like if government takes over our healthcare. The VA. That is government-run healthcare, run by our government. And it's a mess. But the Democrats refuse to admit that the VA has any problems, even though veterans have literally died waiting for healthcare there. AOC in particular says the VA ain't broke, and if it ain't broke, she says, don't fix it. Watch.
When it comes to the VA, all I can think of is that classic refrain that my parents always told me growing up, which is that if it ain't broke, don't fix it. When it comes to privatization, is the idea that this thing that isn't broken, this thing that provides some of the highest quality care to our veterans, somehow needs to be fixed, optimized, tinkered with, until we don't even recognize it anymore. This is who they're trying to fix it for. They're trying to fix the VA for pharmaceutical companies. They're trying to fix the VA for insurance corporations. And ultimately, they're trying to fix the VA for a for-profit healthcare industry that does not put people or veterans first.
Let me repeat myself for the people in the back. Veterans have literally died waiting for healthcare at the VA. Veterans, our nation's military veterans, were placed on secret wait lists. They couldn't get appointments for months and months because the VA was more interested in falsifying their statistics than actually caring for veterans in need. A veteran with lung cancer was forced to wait 4 months for treatment because the system to schedule appointments with an outside specialist was so awful. Veterans with treatable spine issues were left paralyzed because the VA hospital in Manchester didn't give them routine health care. Operating rooms at a 4-star VA hospital were infested by flies. This was a 4-star hospital. Surgical instruments left rusty and bloody, completely unsterile. But AOC says, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. The VA hired doctors with dozens of malpractice suits whose license to practice medicine had been revoked in a different state, doctors with felony convictions and sanctions for sexual misconduct with patients. When the VA found out that one surgeon had hurt 88 patients, they didn't fire him. They did not even report him to the database that tracks doctors' malpractice history. No, the VA let him resign quietly, and now he's part of a private practice. VA doctors turned veterans away so clinic ratings weren't tarnished. VA doctors discussed whether they wanted to perform risky surgeries on patients, veterans, because it might impact their star rating. No consideration for the well-being of the veterans themselves. Meanwhile, since 2004, the VA has spent $20 million on artwork to decorate their waiting rooms to ease the tension of waiting. This includes a $21,000 Christmas tree. But AOC says, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. This is what our entire healthcare system would look like if government takes charge. That is why AOC won't admit anything is wrong with the VA. She can't admit it. Because this is what our whole system would look like if government takes over healthcare. Everybody would be paying higher taxes. Government bureaucrats like AOC would decide who gets treatment and who doesn't. Government bureaucrats would decide what kind of treatment you get and when. Government bureaucrats would decide whether treatment for you is too expensive, and if it is, they'll just leave you to die. This is what happens when government runs healthcare. Secret wait lists, treatments delayed so long that treatable diseases paralyze people, unsterile environments, a shortage of providers that leads to dangerous doctors hurting patients, cover-ups of negligence and malpractice. Meanwhile, our tax dollars spent on frivolous decorations to make clinics look pretty, to hide the rusty and bloody instruments, and government bureaucrats like AOC tell us nothing's wrong. It ain't broke, and so we aren't going to fix it. How scary is that? And that's my final point.